So good na? Sa signal lang. Hello. Good afternoon to all of you. First of all, I would like to thank Mountain View College for giving me this opportunity to share my expertise and knowledge about viruses and its mechanisms of infectivity. I have been a professor of medicine since 1987 at the Mindanao State University College of Medicine, and at present I am a full-time professor of biochemistry and medical physiology at the Matthias H. Asnar Memorial College of Medicine, formerly Southwestern University College of Medicine, now a stand-alone College of Medicine, the Matthias Asnar Memorial College of Medicine. Now, my topic this afternoon is all about viruses and how they can infect or afflict disease to mankind. First of all, let us understand what are viruses. Did you know that viruses are considered to be non-living? Meaning to say that viruses are not considered living organisms. They are in the borderline between living and non-living. Why did I say that? Because one of the characteristics of a living organism is the ability to reproduce. But viruses in general cannot reproduce owing to the fact that they don't have any cellular organization. What the viruses have are only genetic materials, either DNA or RNA. DNA stands for deoxyribonucleic acid and RNA stands for ribonucleic acids. So in other words, viruses have only the genetic materials, but they don't have cellular organization, so much so that they cannot reproduce by themselves. Viruses are also defined as intracellular obligate parasite because they have to infect a living cell in order for them to multiply. So you see, viruses are non-living. Because of this basic characteristics of viruses, they are considered to be self-limiting. What do we mean by self-limiting? The meaning of self-limiting is that once you have the virus and it enters into your system through a particular host, in particular bacteria, and then once they are inside the bacteria, they will sequester the machinery of the bacteria to produce the proteins, because being a genetic material, they can direct the production of proteins. And these proteins that are produced could be toxic to our body, so much so that it will cause manifestations of disorder or disease. In other words, a person who has contacted a virus through the avenues of bacteria, they will get sick because of the products of bacterial metabolism dictated by the virus. But once the virus gets inside the bacteria, eventually the bacteria will burst and lyse and they will die. And after incubation period, say 2 to 5 days or even up to 14th day, the manifestations of the viral disease will disappear, owing to the fact that all bacteria, the host of which the virus had entered, have already died. That's why the disease will disappear. That's why you will notice that for common flu or common colds that are viral, all you have to do is strengthen yourself by taking lots of water, good nutrition, high dose of vitamin C. You will notice that even without taking any medicines, the the manifestations of common cold, or in general they call trangkaso, will disappear even without taking any medicine, because this is the property called self-limiting, meaning the virus will disappear by itself after all the hosts are already destroyed. So you see, I would like to tell you something about this basic characteristic of the virus. Their favorite host of the viruses are bacteria. So once the bacteria will notice that there are viruses inside or on their surrounding, they are going to spew out the enzymes called nucleases. And these nucleases are enzymes that would destroy the virus. That is why this particular enzyme are being now used by molecular biologists as enzyme to cut DNA, because the bacteria has the ability to cut or destroy the viral DNA or RNA. Because viruses and bacteria are natural enemies. So if there are viruses around, bacteria will be active in spreading their nucleases. And this spreading of nucleases could disable the virus that wants to enter them. That is why the practical application of this knowledge is this: do not destroy the natural flora of our body. In our system, in our body, there are natural bacteria that thrives in the lining of our intestines, in the respiratory tract, in all the crevices of our body, including our skin. There are so many microorganisms that protect us. So one practical application is don't be too much about cleaning your skin, about destroying all the bacteria that are found in your body, because it will actually reduce your fighting ability to fight viruses. You will notice that people who are always exposed, so people, little children or children working or playing in the canals, do not experience this common colds or viruses, because they have so many bacteria that protects them. So in other words, don't be too clean sometimes. So you have to preserve the natural flora of our body. So the natural flora is a natural protection against viral infection, because with bacteria present in some aspects, it will kill the virus surrounding us. So that is the practical application behind it. So don't be too much. Although we know that we practice sanitation, especially that we want to weed out some unwanted or virulent viruses, to clean or disinfect our surrounding using acids and alkali. Acids, you can use muriatic acid. Alkali, you can use the common house bleaching agent that can effectively kill the virus. So one of the characteristics of the virus that I know is that the virus cannot multiply in an alkaline environment. So in short, if our system is alkaline, the virus cannot multiply. Now take notice that the physiological pH of the body is 7.4, and that 7.4 is alkaline, meaning to say that if we maintain our physiological pH, if a person is healthy at the pH of 7.4, no virus could ever multiply. Plus the fact that there are microorganisms that could destroy them could now be considered a protection against this viral entry. Now let's go to this COVID virus. COVID virus is considered to be an RNA type of virus. By the way, there are two types of viruses. One is called the DNA viruses, also known as adenoviruses. And the other type is known as the RNA viruses. And the COVID virus is classified under the RNA virus. The DNA virus is a double-stranded DNA molecule, which are bigger type of viruses. Normally, they infect the plants, some animals, and many bacteria. But RNA viruses, also known as retroviruses, are known to infect mammals and humans. That is why this COVID virus, which is a family of retroviruses, is a family of RNA viruses. And one of the characteristics of these RNA viruses is that their favorite hosts are human cells. That's why this COVID virus is virulent in a way because the host cells, instead of bacteria, the host cells by whereby the virus gets inside is the human cell. In this particular case, they get inside the system through our endothelial lining of the lungs. So the host of the COVID virus are the endothelial lining of the lungs. And then once they get inside, they are now going to dictate the host cells to manufacture their proteins dictated by the DNA of the genetic material, in this case the RNA of the virus. Now take note that in the central dogma of life, the expression of protein follows this way, from DNA to RNA to proteins. But since the COVID virus is already RNA, once they get inside the cell, they get immediately into the production of their own proteins. In most cases, the proteins that are produced by this COVID virus are toxic to the body. And one of the mechanisms of the toxicity of this virus is that they have lots of toxins that would destroy the blood vessels. As a matter of fact, it was found out in the autopsy of the people who were infected by virus. It was found out that there is what you call disseminated intravascular coagulation, meaning to say, when the COVID virus enters into the human body, they immediately multiply and produce their own proteins that causes the toxicity. And this one of the proteins that the COVID virus produce are those that destroy the blood vessels. And so it will now react, our system will now react by producing the substance called chemokines. You call it chemokine storm. That will activate, and the immune system of the body will overreact by producing coagulating substance in order to avert the bleeding. But in the process, the coagulation of the blood will cause the clogging of the blood vessels, thereby there is no more oxygen available into the body. That is why in this COVID virus, no amount of intubation or oxygenation could help, because in the first place, there is no more oxygen reaching into the area because of the coagulation of the blood. So our approach in this particular case, in order to avert the effect of the COVID virus, is to make the blood alkaline. Because it was found out that once your blood is alkaline, the blood will not coagulate. In other words, it will remain normal. So one of the natural fighting regimen that we can use is, or you can apply, is to make our blood alkaline. And how do you make your blood alkaline? By eating lots of fruits, juices, and vegetables, as well as a mega dose of what you call alkaline vitamin C. I'm not talking about generics. Alkaline vitamin C are those vitamin C that are called mineral ascorbates. Attached to, the ascorbic acid is attached to minerals. Example of the minerals attached are potassium. So banana, for example, their vitamin C there is potassium ascorbate. Pineapple, their vitamin C there is calcium ascorbate. Talbos ng kamote or kamote tops, their vitamin C there is magnesium ascorbates. So in short, the one best approach in order to stop the growth of the virus is to take in lots of alkaline substances and nutrition, especially fruits and juices, and mega dose of vitamin C. With this, you have already stopped the growth of the virus. Plus, of course, since the effect of this, of course, is to prevent the coagulation of blood, which of course was found out to be the main cause of death of this COVID virus. You call DIC, disseminated intravascular coagulation. So in short, my dear listeners to this stream, I would like to tell you that there is no cause for alarm for these viruses. As a matter of fact, the wearing of mask is only to reduce the spreading of the droplets that may contain some viruses. Because one sneeze, for example, one sneeze could distribute about 1 million viruses. So the mask would be able to prevent the spreading of these droplets that contain the virus. So in a way, that wearing of mask is a number one precaution in order to contain the spreading of the droplets that contain the virus. Another approach to containing the virus is to actually take some immune boosters. Immune boosters, these are actually food that could strengthen the B and the T cells. In the body, we have two immune systems that are working. One is called the cell-mediated immunity, which is performed by the white blood cell called T lymphocytes. These T lymphocytes are called T lymphocytes because these are the the cells that were differentiated as a result of the influence of the thymus gland. That's why the word T. Thymus gland produces the thymosin, which converts the stem cell or the precursor cell from a precursor cell to a differentiated T lymphocyte. And T lymphocytes can directly attack the infected cells by destroying them or by perforating them and lysing them. That is why it's called cell-mediated immunity. One of the types of T cells are what you call natural killer T cells. It was also found out that natural killer T cells are produced when there is enough vitamin C. You know, in my study, vitamin C could increase the amount of natural killer T cells by 300 times. In other words, if you are going to take regularly your vitamin C, you will have enough protection because natural killer T cells are non-specific, meaning to say that they can destroy any forms of infective organisms. It can be bacteria, it can be fungi, it can be virus. So because they are abundant and they are non-specific, you are easily protected by the attack of the virus. The second type of immunity that works in our system is called the humoral immunity performed by the B lymphocytes. Why is this called B? It was found out that the B cells in the body are in the category belonging to the Peyer's patches, the spleen, the gut-associated lymphoid tissues. Once the blood from the bone marrow passes through this area, the young blood will now be differentiated into B cells. And what are the B cells? The B cells are those that produce the antibodies against any form of antigen. In other words, for every bacteria or for every microbe that gets into your system, there will be a specific antibody produced by the B cells in order to disable or destroy the bacteria or the microbe. They do not only destroy the bacteria, but they also neutralize and detoxify the cellular byproducts of whatever microorganisms that enter into the system. So in short, what I am trying to say is that our B, or the humoral system immunity, should work together hand in hand with the T cell system, or called the cell-mediated immunity. So both the T cell and the B cell immune system are working in our body if our system is perfect. Meaning to say, your blood is alkaline and you have lots of immune boosters. You take lots of vitamin C, and in my knowledge at present, there is now what you call product that will boost the immune system. You call it Imorigen, and Imorigen has 118 oligopeptides that are considered to be inductors to immune system. They will activate both the B and the T cell system in the body. They have what you call epigenetic factors that would dictate the DNA to produce appropriate antibody for appropriate antigen. So with that, we can be fully protected against all forms of viral or bacterial attack. According to my professor in immunology, they said that if the immune system of the person is perfect, then there is no disease that could set into the system. So the only perfect mechanism is just like this. Our immune system is just like the operating system of the computer. So if the computer works with operating system and it is well, the computer will run. So in the same manner that if our body will also, if the immune system or body will shut down, the immune system or the body also will shut down, because no person could survive without the immune system. So first and foremost, we have to reestablish back the operating system, and that is our immune system. So with that, I would like to say that in order for us not to panic, we should go back to the basics. So there is no cause for really being worried or to panic, because viruses are simply self-limiting organism. They cannot multiply by themselves. So even by physical intervention, we can already control the virus, especially so that this COVID virus nowadays is actually causing a lot of fear and anxiety to a lot of people, because they do not know. We should really know the characteristic of our enemies in order to know how to fight and control them. So you see, one of the practical applications that we can do is to take a bath on an alkaline environment. Like you take a bath in seawater, viruses cannot get inside there. Or take a saline gargle, hot gargle, and then steam inhalation could easily control the spreading of the virus. So my dear fellow, of those who are hearing me, let us now focus on the characteristic of our enemies. Our enemies are invisible, and yet, if we will just practice and proper hygiene and good nutrition, making our body alkaline, take substances that could improve your immune system, you will be fully protected against this viral infectivity. That's all for today. Thank you.